Friday. It is Jasmine Elizabeth. Oh, I hope you guys didn't hear that. It's Jasmine Elizabeth, and you are watching me on Dear Jassy on our network, where we are not just for the people, we are the people. And we're here on another bright Friday. I'll give everybody time to hop on, to join us in conversation. To hop in the comments, to say hello, all of those good things. And while we're waiting, I will make a couple announcements. First, like I said, you were watching on our page. Make sure that you subscribe and follow us on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, because you can find some really, really dope shows on here every day of the week. It's not just me on Friday. So make sure that you tune in, that you tap in so that you can check out some of these dope podcasts that we have. And I'm thinking if you continue to just check in with us, you'll get some new insights on sports, politics in Colorado. There's a young people have conversations about different subjects and topics. So that's something that you definitely want to tap into. So we have the Mackin Show with 100 Rat 6. We have Life's Little Gems podcast, and that show actually cracks. I've watched it a few times, so tap into that. And then we have Bet That with Robbie the Rocket. That's a dope show too. And Sadiddy is the young host that I was talking about. Definitely tap into that panel. Uncle Tex is about to start his show, My People with Uncle Tex. Fly on the Wall. They have some dope conversations. And Healer Offset show, she's on as well. So you can come chop it up with us about a lot of different things. Sports Talks with an Edge, Game Point. That's a dope show too. Round for Round, where they talk about boxing and different fights, MMA, all of those things. And then you have Brother Damo, which is Friday Funk, which is a little bit after me, where you can hear some live drumming and dope beats and sounds. So make sure that you tune into our page any day of the week. You can look at our comments, look at YouTube, and see when is the best time to tap into each of those shows. So thank you for being here with me on Friday. Again, I'm going to wait to see who's joining me. And I'm actually going to use the computer today in real life instead of just as a prop. So we'll see that. We have Miss Vontice. Let me move this out of the way. We have Miss Vontice in the chat, and we're going to actually highlight her products, which you can see in front of my computer. Miss Vontice is the creator of Divine Butters, and that butter is amazing. But she doesn't just make butters. Divine Naturals by V was created to provide natural skincare products that everyone can use. And those with sensitive skin, or those who just want to switch up their rituals for more natural products, this is definitely a go-to. And what's so dope is she just started off by making soaps, and then that quickly evolved into many other products. And she doesn't use any chemicals. Everything is made by hand. And you can definitely find all of her products online at divinebyv.com. That's divinebyv.com. And let me tell you, I use Diva. It's so soft, but it's so rich at the same time. Like, it smells amazing. And she gave me some oils and I tried them out. I mixed them with some of the cream and it's so soft and sensual. You definitely want to try it. And there are some men's scents too. Like, I know she has a Tom Ford that's really good. So it's not just for women. And she does magnesium cream. She does different soaps. I think you can see the soaps and all that in front of me. But if you want to check it out for yourself, you can go online. But if you're in Denver, you can come and actually indulge in the experience at Breathe on Sundays. So she's our one of our only vendors that we have every Sunday, and she's so loyal because she shows up every Sunday. Doesn't matter if it's 2 people, 10 people, 100 people, and like, I didn't have to beg her or force her or anything. She just was like, "Yeah, I can do it." And so she shows up every Sunday, and we're there from 2 to 7. And it's cute because she has a whole little like ice cream stand. People think it's food or it's a dessert. And when you're at Tetra, you know, you have the munchies because everybody's high. So everybody actually goes to check her out because they think it's ice cream. And then they end up buying some butter. And it smells delicious. And she puts glitter and gold. And you see the display. So I'm not playing. It's really, really pretty. But it's really, really good for your skin. So definitely check her out. So that's Miss V and her butters. And I know that she also, like I said, there's magnesium creams and body oils. So definitely tap into those. And Breathe on Sundays. So Breathe at Tetra. And yes, Tetra is a cannabis lounge. So people smoke weed at Tetra. That's what people go to Tetra to do. But in addition to it, we play spades, dominoes, Uno. And you don't have to smoke weed to be there, but just know that that's a part of it. Like, sometimes people get caught off guard, and I wasn't aware that people didn't really know about Tetra. So shout out to Dwayne and Tetra. It's been around since 2008. It's not a new thing, but what is so interesting is it's really big for tourists. Like, whenever we're there, it's really filled with tourists who are coming through the city, who are on their way to the airport. They know more about it, or they frequent it a little bit more. So we want to try to bring more life and more natives and more of us. And it's a real cool vibe, like a real cool vibe. We have dope music. My playlist is amazing. You can ask anybody that's been there. And we do spades, Uno, dominoes. We do different taboo games, battle of the sexes. And it's every Sunday from 2 to 7. So make sure you're there. And this Sunday we'll be doing, I'll be having cake and ice cream for my birthday. So I'm super excited for that, because tomorrow is my birthday. So you are in Denver, you can definitely come out to Tetra on Sunday and have cake and ice cream with me for my birthday. All right. So I'm waiting to see if more people come in, because we have some pretty cool comments, emails this week that we're going to tap into. And on top of that, I like to be able to, oops, hold on, sorry, that was me. But I like to actually have people in the conversation, like in real life time. So let's just think about that. While I'm waiting, I do want to review some conversations that we had last week. So last week we were talking about how sometimes people may not want to spend the night, or they may be comfortable at their own home. And we got into a whole conversation about CPAP machines and sleep apnea. And yeah, that is a real thing. So I looked it up, because that's what I do. I looked it up, and I found that in America, first off, globally, on a global level, over 1 billion people have sleep apnea from the ages of 30 to 69. So from 30 to 69, about 1 billion people have sleep apnea. And from there, in the U.S. alone, about 30 million people have sleep apnea. So in our great country, about 30 million people have sleep apnea. So that's actually not a small number. That's a lot of people that actually have sleep apnea, right? And then on top of that, it says that for men 40 to 59, that it's 38% more likely that you have sleep apnea. So when I say these things, or when we have these real conversations, I'm really not being funny, but it's something for us to really think about because health matters. And so maybe if you can't breathe, if you're snoring, if like you have problems in your sleep, and sometimes you like lose your breath, or it happens, it's a real thing. So if any of these things actually apply to you, then I feel like you should actually look into if you have sleep apnea or not, because it's not just a myth. And I did learn that like technology is becoming a little bit more advanced, where there are like portable machines and things that you can wear so that it's not as uncomfortable. But like I said, oh, that's that's an intense illustration. I think that's what it looks like when you get tested. So when you go to get tested, you're pretty much down in that type of situation. But I know, like I was saying before, I know the machines back, well, and I won't say back in the day because this was like not that long ago, that some of the machines did kind of look like elephant type machines. And so people didn't necessarily want to travel with them. But I don't know, guys. Sleep apnea is a real thing. And it also says that overall, while many adults in the 30 to 55 age group are estimated to have sleep apnea, a smaller number actively use CPAP machines due to factors like treatment, diagnosis rates, and insurance. And so a lot of times we don't want to be treated, or we may not be getting the coverage that we need. So I'm not always for like Western care or things of that nature, but I do say if you're having trouble sleeping, that's definitely something that you should be getting considered. And this also mentioned insurance, and you guys know that I am the insurance queen. So please make sure that your family has life insurance, and make sure that you cover your kids. So that's a whole little situation that I had started during Christmas, because I was saying cover your kids for Christmas, meaning to make sure that they have policies in place in the event that something happens to them. They're covered, but in the event that as they grow, you can actually have policies that accrue cash value for them. So when they're teenagers and they're young adults, you have some money that you can play with. So make sure that you cover your kids. Make sure that you have life insurance. Make sure that your kids have life insurance. Make sure that you're checking your breathing, because sleep apnea is a real thing, and all of those things, all of that jazz. So, all right, let's get into it. And I'm thinking I'm going to actually tag some people in the comments so we could get started with the conversation, because I know that as we start talking, you guys are going to hop on, and then I'll be doing circles. But we'll pull up the first one, and I will do all of those things at the same time. So we got a letter today. Well, actually, it's crazy because it came in last week, and so I was excited to actually read it today. So the first one is actually about family and different situations that apply. So I'm about to tag Shanae because that's my girl. And I saw Miss Sheila had put eyes. So I'm going to tag her too so we can have the conversation and get it going. Nope, that's not who I'm looking for. All right. Okay, so the first one is when to let go. And this person wants to remain anonymous. So here we go. If your friend or family member clearly needs help but continues to refuse it, how long are you supposed to keep showing up? What if it's an adult child or a parent? When does loyalty turn into self-destruction? Are you considered a traitor for going to the courts to force your family members to get evaluated and treated? The same system that is unjust and unfair at times. What if after forcing them to get treated, they get worse? Okay, so let me just see here. I feel like this. First, I want to apologize because I feel like this is heavy, and it may be something that you relate to personally. So, um, if your friend or family member clearly needs help but continues to refuse it, how long are you supposed to keep showing up? Um, I really think that's personal. And the reason why I say that I think that's personal is because different boundaries and different circumstances fall into place, right? Like different dynamics in terms of family. Because I can say, well, sometimes friends become family and you have a stronger relationship with your friends than family. But I think it depends on the dynamic of your relationship with that particular person. Um, but if it's an adult child, I think we talked about that in a little regards when we had talked about the woman who the daughter who felt like the mom didn't have boundaries because the mom was trying to tell her what to do, right? And so I think there comes a point where um our children don't listen to us anymore, like, and I know that sounds crazy, but I think there is a point where as adults our children, they don't necessarily listen, and it could be again the dynamics of your relationship, but there's a point even in development where you want to try things on your own. And even if it only takes one time for you to fuck up, you may need just that one time. And so if it's an adult child who you continue to show up for over and over and over again, I feel like it may be okay to let them slip and butt their head and have that experience, but just to be there for them in the best support that you can when they have that experience. Um, so I can't say like how long you're supposed to keep showing up because again, I think as a parent and your dynamics of your relationship with your child, that is something that can be attributed between you two. But if you feel like it's going in one ear and out the other, and they're getting worse, then it could be good for you to step away. Um, yeah, I think it could be okay for you to step away there. um, Whether it's an adult child or a parent. And I've learned that like we really can't parent our parents. We we can't parent. I don't know how to say this. I feel like for adults, adult, whether it's your child or your parent, like they have to have a desire to want to change. Like they have to have that desire to want to um, evolve and let go. And sometimes we enable them to stay the way by helping, like by enabling or by doing too much. Sometimes when we do too much, we don't create space for them to have to grow or for them to have to actually bump their head a little bit or mature in different spaces. And so when you ask, when does loyalty turn into self-destruction? I feel when you have to ask that question, it's definitely self-destructive. If you have to question if your loyalty is putting you at harm, or if it's at a place where you're stressed or you feel like it's too much for you to bear, then you got to step away. And I also think sometimes we are loyal to a fault, especially as parents, black women, black mothers, especially with our men. We are loyal to a fault. We can enable, we can shelter, we can over love. Maybe I don't know if that's the right word. Maybe I don't know, but we can do a lot that we actually we find it when we want to think that it's good, but it's very damaging. It's not necessarily helpful. And I know our first response is to actually step in and try to save the day for our adult parents or children, but we don't necessarily. That's not always the best result. So I feel like if you have to question if it's self-destructive, then yes, it probably is. and you should probably put some more boundaries in place around how you handle or maneuver your parent or your child, so that it's not in a way that's detrimental to you, and it's in a way that allows your child to grow in a healthy light. And then the other part of the question was, are you considered a traitor for going to the courts to force your family member to get evaluated and treated? I feel like that's doing too much. Like, I feel, because again, you can't force someone to do or be anything. You can't force someone. I'm learning that what we have to do is allow people to be who they are, and if it doesn't fit in your boundaries, if it doesn't align with your beliefs, then you allow them to be who they are from a distance. But trying to force someone to change to your liking or to what you feel is suitable for them in this moment, that's not fair, because that doesn't acknowledge their process and where they are and what they want. Because clearly, if they're not acknowledging your help, if you're saying that they're refusing your help, if you're saying that you feel like you're showing up and it's hurting you more than it's helping them, and now it's to the point where you want to force them, like, that's not healthy. That's not cool. That's actually hella controlling, whether that's for your child or for your parent. Like, that's a lot. And you got to allow people to come to their terms. And yes, the system can be unfair, but we shouldn't even be to that point, because again, you that's not something I feel like you should force on someone else. To me, again, and I don't know. Let me see if there are comments. I don't think we have any comments as of yet, but I feel. Let me see, because I tried to pull it up in real life on the computer, right? So this one isn't just a prop. It's actually me on the computer, so that it looks, so I could flow a little bit. But on the comments on Facebook, because I'm usually always on Facebook on my phone, it looks different and I can't actually see them. So let me see. Hey, Shanae, I see you, girl. You say that I agree that's too much people have to want to change. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I feel like trying to force, like, that's a lot. And it says the same system that is unjust and unfair at times. What if after forcing them to get treated, they get worse? Of course they're going to get worse, because it's a force. And so it's rebellion. If I don't want to do something and you're forcing me to do it, it's not going to turn out well. I'm probably going to waste your time and your money, because I didn't want to be here in the first place. So in this particular situation, so if they're clearly refusing your help, stop showing up. If somebody is refusing your help, stop offering it. And if, whether it's an adult child or a parent, and I think we talked about this last week too, like, we can't give somebody too much of something, and then if they don't appreciate it, feel like giving them more will make them more appreciative. Like, if they don't appreciate what you're offering in the beginning, giving them more of that is not going to make them appreciate it at all. So don't do that. And then, yeah. So I would say, yeah, that is being a traitor for going to the courts. That's a lot, especially if they don't want to change. And Shanae says resentment is going to be there, and it's going to be a lot to unpack and heal from that. And I totally agree. I agree. And it's not going to be the outcome that you want, because, again, allow people to have their process. And I think a lot of times, when we come to a point of healing or a different dynamic in ourselves, we kind of try to force it on people around us or people who love us. And religious people are really, really bad with that. Like, I understand you're a new convert, you found God, and that works for you, and that's dope. And I understand that that's where you are, but it's not to aggressively force on someone else, because you have to allow people to arrive to their process just in the same way that you arrived to yours. And even though we have this new zeal and we're newly found and we're all of these things, we still have to, one, understand that we don't have place judgment because we were on the other side. And two, in the same way that we had to get there, we have to allow other people. So sometimes, again, like I said, doing too much actually slows down or delays the process versus actually allowing it to unfold in the way that it needs to. And like Shanae says, it will be hard, but step aside because it's not your journey. Yeah, so I would have to say by submitting this question, this email, you are aware that it's time for you to um, step back and let people be who they are. And on YouTube, F all that says, why not let people be who they are? Don't change. Keep being a great person. That is their flaw, not yours. And that's what I say too. Like, yeah. And I think that's important, right? Like, I feel we try to control and manipulate people to be who and what we want them to be instead of just finding our people. And let me just backtrack and say one thing. One, manipulation isn't always a bad thing. We put a negative connotation on it, but it's not always a bad thing. It is when we're trying to get people to fit a circle into a square. Like, that's clearly a circle. Let them be a circle. If you want to fuck with squares, go fuck with squares, because I'm a square person. Like, no, actually, I'm not. But I like circles because there's no form to it. That's a whole nother thing. Anyway, but like, if it doesn't fit for you, like, just it doesn't fit for you. And I think a lot of times we try to force, or we want people to be a certain way. And if we tie that into dating and shit, that's how we end up being caught in potential. Like, oh, I know he's such a great person and they could be this and they could be that and they have so much potential and this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay, allow them to evolve into that if they want to be. Because and then that's another caveat. Sometimes people don't want to be who you want them to be. Like, people want to be who they are. They want to be whoever they are in their greatness. He or she, your family member, they may not see that they have a problem, or it may not be a problem to them. And yes, it may be like, oh, well, they have an addiction, they have a this, they have a that, and I understand. And I'm not saying that those things are positive attributes or positive behaviors. But what I'm saying is it may not be to a point where they find it harmful, or it may not be to a point where it is igniting a desire to change in them. And you may be on the outside looking out like, oh, but you have so much potential and you could be doing so much better. And I raised you to be this, or you raised me to be that, because you said it could be a child or a parent. Like, either way, it's like you want them to be something that they may not necessarily want to be. So don't, yeah, don't. And it doesn't necessarily even have to be a flaw. It could just be a preference of who they are. That's who they are as a person, and that's who they like to be, and that's their preference. And so either flow with it or just step back a little bit. And I'm not saying that we just allow our people to just engage in self-harming behavior or anything of that nature. If it's something where it's like, you could potentially unalive yourself or something of that nature, then yes, there's possible intervention and ways you should go about it. But if it's someone who's just in their space, in their zone, or not living up to what you feel they should be doing, or they're doing drugs or whatever the case may be, but it's not to the point of no return, I would just say just let them flow through where they are. Just definitely let them flow through where they are. So that's my thing on that for sure. So Shanae, I don't know if you heard what I said at the beginning of the show where we were talking about CPAP machines last week and like sleeping over and stuff. And I found out that over 30 million Americans have have sleep apnea. So that's a lot. And 38%, like if you're in the ages of 30 to, let me look it up again so I'm not lying. 30 to 55 adults in between the ages of 30 to 55, you have a 38% higher rate of having sleep apnea. So we were having a conversation about that last week in like being comfortable and sleeping at your own home and why some people might prefer that. And we started talking about CPAPs. And I always thought it was cool to just like circle back and research some things that we were chatting about. And so it is actually a common thing. And it's very prevalent in men between 40 and 59. And that's kind of like our age range. Yeah. Oh, you missed it. So you missed that part. So last week we were talking about a girl had sent an email saying how she's been dating this dude for 5 months and he won't spend the night because he said that he felt comfortable sleeping in his own bed. And she said like they go on dates, they do everything that adults do, but he wouldn't spend the night. And she's like, well, is he hiding a life or wife or something like that? And so we got into a conversation where basically I was like, we can't always assume the worst. Like, we can't always assume a nigga's cheating just because he don't want to sleep at your house. And 5 months isn't necessarily that long because I prefer to go home too, but I will cuddle, we can sleep. And it's not to say that I won't spend the night, but there's different conditions and some reasons. And so we got into a conversation, and I'm like, he could have a CPAP machine, like he could have hair loss. There could be different things. And so a couple of our commenters in the conversation last week actually use CPAP machines. And so we were talking about if it was a deal breaker, if it was common. And so I just wanted to circle back and bring it back to say, like, no, it is actually a real thing. Like CPAP, it's a real thing. So don't always assume that he doesn't want to sleep at your house because he got a whole nother family or something. He could possibly have a CPAP. He could actually really have a CPAP machine. And so I thought that was interesting that men between 30 and 55, and it says a lot of times that people don't actually use machines because they haven't been diagnosed or they don't have insurance. So making sure that you can be covered. Oh, yes. Hold on. Okay, I'll get over it. It'll have to accept the CPAP machine, but I'm not doing incontinence. If you leak in urine, you can't spend the night. Hold on. Wait, that's funny that you said that because one of the girls on YouTube last week, she actually said that. She said that her heart was broken because she found out that her dude pees a little bit. And she said that was a deal breaker for her. That he was not, because we were saying that too. I was like, the nigga could possibly wear a diaper. Like, he could possibly not be able to hold it at night. And one of the girls in YouTube said the same thing. She said she found out that, yeah, her dude peed a little bit. And so that actually was a deal breaker for her. She was like, nah, I can't do that. And then Heather was like, she can do all the things because nursing, she's in that space. And LaDonna was like, she's never doing a CPAP until unless they're married. But I said, well, how would you know until you get to that part? Yeah. And Cushion Starbud says that CPAP in your overnight bag is a no-no. So that's what I was saying too. So some people feel more comfortable sleeping at home because they have a CPAP machine and it's not as easy to carry. And yes, Janika, you joined and you heard me talking about a man peeing in the bed. Yes, you did. What we said last week was that incontinence could be a deal breaker. And my homegirl on YouTube last week was like, she was in love with a man and she found out that he peed, that he peed a little bit, that he was a little incontinent. And so she said she couldn't be with him. Heather was like, I could be with it. Like, I could do it all. I could do pee. I could do CPAPs. I'm like, no, nigga, I'm not doing no pee. And then we also talked about, like, receding hairlines. Like, he might have to draw on his hairline. And, yeah, so I agree with you, Lily Babies, that pee in the bed is most certainly a deal breaker. Especially if we're not married. Like, if we age together and you get to that point where, and even talking about that, because like one of my side hustles is I go and I help older white people, if I'm being honest. And well, some of them are Indian, and they're literally people who, like, their families live in different states and they need someone to keep them company, fix them a meal, whatever the case may be. So I helped a couple today. They were literally 86 and 88, and their house was dope as fuck. When I tell you dope, I'm talking about dope. It's a split level ranch. They have 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. They each had their own bedroom. They each had their own bathroom, and they literally They have their own separate spaces, but they're older and they can't really move around how they want to. And so, Janika, I'm not trying to wake up to no pee in a puddle either. And so this is probably why my couple that I helped today, they have their own bedrooms, because she definitely had a commode next to her bed. And my homie, he could actually use the bathroom. He's fully functioning, but he's like disabled from the lower body down, so he can't bend. That's his issue. He can't bend, and he can't lift up stuff heavier than a milk carton. So these are people, they're fully functional. They're not sick. I'm not changing diapers, none of that, because y'all know that's just not my type of thing. But if you want to come, one lady I play Scrabble with, we shoot the shit and play Scrabble. Another lady, she teaches me about herbs, and y'all know how I get down with herbs, so that's one way up my hill. But anyway, so this particular couple today, like I said, they're in their 80s. But when they saw each other, because they met in the hallway, leaving their bedrooms, they met in the hallway and they saw each other, and they were like kids in a candy store. And it was so fucking sweet to witness. Like, they were so in love, like they were cuddling and, oh, honey, baby. And so the older dude, he had a bandage because he just had back surgery. And so he had a bandage and she had to change it. And again, I don't do that type of shit. So I'm just there to supervise to make sure everything goes good. So in the time that it's happening, she's like, oh my God, I get to put my hands on you. I'm like, that is so sweet. Like, this 80-year-old, she has a very short-term memory. Like, I be saying the same thing to her over and over again. And she gets so excited about seeing her 80-year-old man and putting her hands on them. But they have separate rooms because, like I said, she's in a commode. And he made it very clear that he's not doing that. He's like, I love my wife. And that's, we got old together. But I would rather pay somebody. So while I'm there, the nurse comes in. They do all that. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like as you age together, there are some things that you kind of help and support each other with. But I'm not newly taking a nigga who is wearing diapers and we're in the 40s. I'm just not doing that. But Tilly said with her line of work, it comes with all ages. I agree. You can be incontinent at 35. You can be incontinent at 40. And with the way food is set up, like the things we're eating, stress levels, niggas ain't doing their pelvic exams, both men and women, all that. Like, it happens. Like, people are incontinent at early ages. Sean says that she's not fucking with nobody that pees in the bed. It's a heavy on the no. So that might be, again, like I was saying, could be why he goes home at night, because he might wear a diaper. Vic said, newly relationship, absolutely not. Deep into it, down the road, our bodies change. We'll just move around. We can have some separate rooms. Yep. And that's what I witnessed today. And it was so beautiful, because when I tell you they were in space together, they were like hopelessly in love. But he made it very clear, like, I'm not changing her diaper. I'm not changing her commode. This is what I pay you and your team to come in for. He's like, I can't fix her lunch, so you guys come in and fix her lunch. And then for him, he just had surgery. So she maintains all the stuff for him. But like, they're with it. And it was just so freaking adorable. And I was like, oh, this is beautiful, because they don't remember much, but they remember each other. And like, just to see it in their eyes, it was dope. It was really, really dope. So I'm saying all that to say, CPAP is a real thing. Incontinence is a real thing. Get your fucking health checked. Make sure that you're having these real conversations with people that you're intimate with, because she's assuming that he got a whole nother wife situation, and it really could be a medical condition. It really could be something so much off the wall. And that's something that you really need to explore, because if you're dealing with a nigga that you really, really enjoy and you're taking it there, and it could be both ways, because I know there's some girls who wear them diapers too. Incontinence after having babies is a real thing. Like, after having children, incontinence is a real thing, and that's bladder, that's pelvic, that's all of that. So you can definitely look into that. But girl, Janika, I am with that too. I don't even want a man breathing too much on me, let alone peeing. That, like, I'm with you. So it's definitely. And 702 Bald Head Nut said, grown pee stinks. If your pee stinks, that means you're not drinking enough water. Your pee should not have an odor. So make sure that you get your water game up. Your pee should not stink. Your pee should not be yellow. Your pee should not be brown. and you should pee often. If your pee has an odor, if your pee is yellow, if your pee is brown, you need to drink more water. Drink more water. Drink more water. How much water are you consuming a day? Because statistics say that you should drink half of your body weight in water a day. So if you're a good 200 pounds, you should be drinking 100 ounces of water a day. And that's like 5 bottles of water because bottles are about 17 ounces. So I'm giving you a little leeway. If you use Stanley cups, that's 2.5 Stanley cups where you should be drinking water today. And if you drink pop or you drink soda, then you need to intensify that because pop, water, soda, any type of caffeine, it actually dries you out more. And I'm a tea drinker, so all you're going to catch me with is tea, tequila, and water. And now I kind of put Crown in the mix too. But I drink a lot of tea, so I drink a lot of water. But your pee shouldn't smell like anything. And if it does, drink more water. And look at what you're eating because that means that you're wasting some stuff that's in your body that shouldn't be in there. And that's a sign that you need to drink more water. But yeah, so there's that. And so we hopped into that conversation. Oh, fruits really help with hydration as well and flushes toxins. And you're right. And that helps with the water intake too. So sometimes when water gets a little bit boring, I like to definitely put some fruits in my water, like do fruit infusion into the water. I like to do mints and herbs and all of that nature as well. But definitely step your game up with some fruits to help with that, to definitely move in that space and will help with there. Let me see what else is being said in the chat. But me too, Shanae. It was so pretty to see. It was really, really hopeful because it lets you know like the brain is so powerful in the dynamics of like what it chooses to remember. So this is another thing that I thought was dope about Homegirl. F all that says you can overdrink water. If your man has a weave, he's not my man because I'm definitely never dating a man with a weave. That sounds crazy. And then, can you overdrink water, Janika, Victoria? My health buddies in the comment. I don't know. I don't know if you can overdrink water. I don't know. I'm gonna let y'all tell me. Is that possible to overdrink water? But there was another comment that you had made about I missed it. I'll put it back in the chat after all that. The one that you said before you can never drink water, so I can respond to that because I don't really know what you said. Coconut water, I don't like that weird taste, Miss Teresa. That aftertaste, it tastes really, really gross. Janika, how do you detox your kidneys though? Because you said that's another thing. That is very important around the yellow pee, stinky pee, looking at your kidneys. Again, that goes into what are you eating? What are you eating? What are you taking in? What is your stress like? All of these things matter. And Janika says that you can't necessarily over drink water, but you can lose nutrients that you need to balance. So if you're consuming a lot of water, make sure you're taking your vitamins, your daily supplements. And if you're a Black woman in Colorado, I don't care what you take, but make sure you're taking your vitamin D, honey, because we definitely have a deficit here in Colorado as Black women. So make sure whatever regimen you have, that it includes vitamin D for sure. And now let me tell y'all a really crazy fact. Really, Vic, how do you drown yourself? How does that work? Like, is it over consuming at one time? Is it goes down the wrong phase? Lily Baby said, yes, drinking too much water can be harmful to the body. Tell me more, because I didn't know that. Because I barely make my little 2 Stanleys a day. But I like to drink water because I like my poon to be fresh. I like my water to be fresh. I like my pee to be fresh. And I know all that is rooted in making sure you drink enough water. And I don't really be understanding how people don't drink water because I know that impacts your cooch. I know it be yeasty and there's a lot of buildup if you're not taking in your water. So if you have any of those issues too, think about your water intake. But tell me more, Lily Babies and Victoria, about how drinking too much water can be harmful and how I can drown myself, because that's a notion that I've never even heard. Janika says if you want to detox your kidney, you can look at some burdock root and some dandelion root. Shout out to Dandelion and shout out to Shishi because I actually just got a book for Christmas called The Power of the Dandelion. And it talks about different herbs, spells, rituals, teas that you can make with the dandelion. And one of them was talking about a cleanser that is good with the actual dandelion. So I'm going to look into that a little bit more. And Sister Tilly, how do you detox? Like, what are your methods of detoxing? Because that's what we're talking about too. Because the comment was made that grown up pee stinks. And so we're saying if your pee stinks, you need to detox. And I'm saying a part of that is increasing your water. And then I found out that you can drown or drink too much water. And I didn't know that. And Victoria says your kidneys can't get rid of the excess water if you're drinking too much. So what is too much water? Like, how do you determine too much? Because like I said, I was told that you're supposed to drink half your body weight in water a day. You say 2 gallons a day is what they say is our max. Okay, so anything more than 2 gallons a day of water is a lot. It's too much. Okay. So, but make sure you're drinking at least half your body weight because that's important. And if you can't start there, at least start with 24 ounces. I think that was the minimum for little kids when we were growing up. Like, was it 3 8-ounce cups a day? But make sure that you're getting your water in because that's very, very, very important. And detox. And if you guys have ideas on how to detox, we definitely work on that. Miss Teresa said, go ahead and put some coconut water in there. I think coconut water has a really interesting taste, but it does hydrate really well. And if you're doing water, Vic says, make sure that you put some fruit in there. And she also says that fruit helps with hydration. So increase your fruit too. And fruit also helps with your pelvis and keeping your poon fresh and all that. So make sure you throw that in the mix. And 702 Ballhead Nut says water intoxication happens when too much water builds up in the body and disrupts cells. Mild symptoms include nausea, vomiting, and bloating. Severe cases can cause confusion, seizures, or coma. That's very interesting. And 2 gallons of water is a lot because I'd be dying trying to drink a gallon. I remember when I was on a water fast and I had to do a gallon of water. That was a lot for me. So 2 gallons, I would say that is a lot for sure. Like definitely a lot there. So, all right. We're going to get into the second question. And I know that the first question, it was just me and Shanae talking about it. And maybe we'll actually just recap it really quick because you guys are here. And so the first question, that the first email that we went is a little, it's about family and it's a little heavy, but we have a really good audience in the back. And so Sean, I really want to hear what you think about this as a parent with older adults. Vic, I want to hear what you think about this with your dynamics. And Janika, of course, your perspective is always dope. So I'm going to run this other question back. And Sister Tilly, you keep it raw and interesting. So I'm going to run back the first question. And the first one is basically they wanted to remain anonymous. And so we're going to honor that. And it says, if your friend or family clearly needs help but continues to refuse it, how long are you supposed to keep showing up? What if it's an adult? Hold on, let me put, okay. What if it's an adult child or a parent? And when does loyalty turn into self-destruction? Are you considered a traitor for going to the courts to force your family member to get evaluated and treated? The same system that is unjust and unfair at times. And what if after forcing them to get treated, they get worse? So, in our conversation, because at first it was just me and Shanae that were just chopping it up about this, I said boundaries are really big in this situation, whether it's your adult child or your parent, because clearly you're trying to force someone to be and do something that they clearly don't want to do or be. And if they don't want to do or be that, then you have to kind of honor that boundary, even if it's uncomfortable or even if it's something that you don't necessarily agree with. But I feel like running to the court, well, I'll stop right there to see what you guys are saying, because I know you were last week you're like, Jazz, I'll be trying to put my answers in the chat, but it types so fast or you move so fast. So I'll give you a second. And the question is, if your friend or family member clearly needs help but continues to refuse it, how long are you supposed to keep showing up? What if it's an adult child or a parent? When does loyalty turn into self-destruction? Are you considered a traitor for going to the courts to force your family to get evaluated and treated? The same system that is unjust and unfair at times. What if after forcing them to get treated, they get worse? So Janika says, control is control even with good. That's it. And that's something that I've had to learn too. And that's actually something I write about in the book. And now I know is that, like, we can be controlling. We can be controlling. And even if the intent is good, that doesn't necessarily make it good. Like, my thought was, this person clearly doesn't feel like they need help. And even though you may see it in a different light, whether it's your parent or your child, you may feel it, but they don't. And so if they don't, stop trying to force it. Stop trying to fix something that doesn't feel like it needs to be fixed. And I know that's harmful, and I know that that's hard to say, but you're saying that you're showing up and you're being refused. So like me and Shanae were saying, like, you can't give somebody something that they don't appreciate and think by giving them more of that they're going to appreciate it even more. You know, like, if they don't want your help, stop trying to help them. And I know that's hard, because a lot of times, and I have kind of correlated this to dating too, is like, that's how we get caught up in potential, right? Like, we see this guy and we're like, oh, I can fix him, I can change him, I can do this, I can do that. And the reality is you can't do any of that. You can't fix, change, shift, nothing. You can't do anything. And so trying to force someone to be what you want them to be isn't fair to that person or to their process. And Shanae says, and intentions versus impact is important too. And I agree with that. Like, intention versus impact is important. How you show up for someone, how you navigate or intervene for someone matters, because I feel like that's important. So Tilly says, I let it be, because until I see something to say where they are putting themselves in harm's way, I stepped in. Otherwise, I'll leave it be. And F.I. said the same thing. What if they're on the verge of self-harm? Self-harm, absolutely. Like, absolutely. Like, if you see somebody trying to unalive themselves or something where it's detrimental, cool. But if I'm just, and I'm not saying this in a rude way, but if you have someone and it's not just as in downplaying, but someone who's stuck in addiction by choice, you have to allow them to go through their process. And again, I said stuck in addiction by choice. And here is what I'm saying in this regards is, if someone's offering intervention, someone is offering a way out for you, someone is trying to provide help for you, and you clearly don't want it at this time, you have to allow them to evolve and allow them the space to kind of go through their process. If they're in a place of it's not, they're going to kill themselves. I don't know how else to say that PC. You know what I mean? But from here, it says that they keep trying to force it and they're not doing it. And when does loyalty turn into self-destruction? And I feel like if you feel like you're asking if it's self-destruction, then it is self-destruction. Victoria says, in all relationships, you need to put yourself first. So be mindful when caring for them becomes harmful for yourself. Be loyal to yourself before you are overly loyal to them. Put in your efforts and find peace with walking away when it's harming you. And so I agree with that. Like, if you have to question if it's turning into self-destruction, then it is. You definitely know that you're doing too much. And forcing someone by going to the courts, yes, that's being a traitor. I feel like what me and Shanae were saying earlier was like, that is like you're trying to demand your will on someone who doesn't want to do what you want them to do. Like, okay, well, you don't want to listen, I'm going to the courts. And that's fucked up. I don't think it should ever come to that point again, unless they're really going to kill themselves or it's hurting. But for here, it sounds like this is a cycle. This isn't something that is new. This is something that is a cycle that's been going on. And if they go to the system, of course it's going to get worse because they didn't want to be there in the first place. So you force someone to do something that they don't want to do, there's a level of rebellion that's going to come against that, you know? And so Shanae says that she would recommend you do some work too, because why is there an issue triggering you to overstep? Yes, like what is the control there? What is the need for it? And I understand the relationship. It could be a parent, it could be a child, but even then understanding the boundaries, it's like you're so aggressively wanting this person to do what you want them to do, to where it's almost you're not being loyal to yourself. You're being refused, and now you want to go to a higher power. Like, what is that? Like, sit with that for a little bit. Like, why? Why is all that necessary? Why not just allow someone to go through their process in the same way that you went through your process? So that was the first question, and that one was like, I say, Miss Teresa says, if they don't get help and do something crazy, does that all fall on you? No, none of it falls on you. None of it is your responsibility. No other person is your responsibility. Like, your children, as they're adolescents, as they're in maturation, they're your responsibility. But grown adults, grown parents, grown people who have the ability, and they don't have a mental impairment to where they're totally relying on you and you're doing everything for them. If they're a fully functional adult and they do some dumb shit, that is absolutely not on you. Especially if you've done all you can to intervene to the point where it's wearing on you, then nah, I don't think that's it. Make the right decisions for himself with some things. I asked him to give me the power of attorney of him, and he wasn't against it, but didn't want to do it. I was giving him a time limit to do it before I got it myself. That one went quick. I'm trying to catch it. It's on YouTube. But to the point of power of attorney, yes. So when you get to the mental capacity to where you need a power of attorney, and when you need someone to step in for your cognizant ability, absolutely. That's what I say too. Like, when it's that serious, then absolutely. And like, your person has dementia. Your person is no longer in the mental capacity to handle themselves. But if it's a choice in this moment, and that's what it is, you got to let people choose. Tilly says, now child, let it go. But a parent, sorry, there is no gray area here. Working in my field, I never let my parents sit in a nursing home to allow strangers to take care of my parent. No, I wouldn't. I would never put my parents in a nursing home either. I think, and that's what we were saying in the conversation on YouTube too. Like, if someone needs a power of attorney, or there's like mental incognition or like mental decline, then absolutely you step in and you intervene and you make sure that your parent is good. But if it's just a person who is choosing to live in a way that is not suitable or what you want, then you got to back up a little bit. And hey, Mama T. Mama T says, I mean, one thing in life is mental health illness is real. And I agree. And in my book, and Now I Know, I talk about that. Like, if we're being honest with ourselves, we're all on some end of the spectrum. We all have some mental impairment, some mental disability. And it's not even really a disability. It's really the beauty of how our brains work. Our brains are so beautiful and so complex, and the spectrums of how we communicate and how we process information. We're so unique and diverse. It's not the same for anyone at all. Not one person processes information the exact same as anybody else. So that means that the way that our brains intertwine, process. Oh, okay. So that brings me back full circle about what I was saying about the old couple today. So what I found so interesting about the lady was that if you ask her to say her ABCs, she can't say them. She doesn't know them. But if you ask her to sing her ABCs, she can sing them. So if you say like, oh, say your ABC, she'll say like ABC, and then it's like, ooh. But if you say sing your ABCs, she can sing it like roll your boat, like ABC. It's really interesting. And so that speaks to like your brain, right? Like brain development, cognition. When you're older, you're adult, your parents need help, and like how you process. And so for me, it's like understanding different periods, cycles, and seasons, and mental capacities and impairment situations, and allowing people to go through their process on their pace, in their pace. But forcing someone to get evaluated and treated, I think that's a bit much for me personally. But you guys can hop into the comments and tell me what you guys think, if you think it might be too much. Miss Vontice with Divine Butters. Again, make sure you guys check out her butters. She says, I think it might depend on your relationship to the person. Oh, this is the one that I was trying to catch. So Miss V says, my brother was struggling with addiction and PTSD, so he was really not able to make the right decisions for himself with some things. I asked him to give me power of attorney of him, and he wasn't against it, but didn't want to do it. I was giving him a time limit to do it before I got it myself. If it were my son, I wouldn't have gave him a choice. I would go do it. I agree. I totally agree. And so for me, Miss V, it sounds like you and your brother have like a trusting relationship to where he was able to have that conversation with you. So even though he wasn't necessarily as willing, but he was open, and you guys were able to get to a point where you were able to rectify the situation. So did you end up getting a power of attorney for him, or how did that play out? And you said with your son, you wouldn't have given him a choice. I feel like that's that control thing with parents, though, because I feel like at sometimes we do have to give our kids a choice. We do have to allow them space to grow and to heal and to evolve. And I know that's not easy. And I know it's not, I know it's hard. I know it's tough, but sometimes there's a line between like enabling and enabling to the point to where we don't allow our children to grow and flourish in the way that they should. And so that's my thought there. Let me see what else is being said. Now, a child, I saw that. And yep, we're saying mental health is a real thing, and it's something that should be evaluated. And I agree with that too. But if it's just a model of behavior that you're not aligned with, then I think you just got to kind of give space to allow that to be. All right, so that was the first question, and we can always go back if you guys want to add things in, because I know the comments move fast, and I know the conversation moves fast too, but I feel like if it's being refused, if you feel like you're not being loyal, if you're feeling loyal to yourself, if you're feeling like it's a place of self-destruction, then you have to step back. No, it doesn't fall on you. Whatever the end result may be wouldn't fall on that particular person, because you you tried, you put in your efforts, and the system's fucked up. So that's definitely not the first place we want to turn. We want to allow people to kind of go through the process. But if you need to intervene, making sure that you do that in the most adamant way and in the best way that's possible. So that was that one. All right. So let me see, what is our next one today? Our next one. So this one is tap out. Okay. So, dear Jassy, I accidentally found out my boyfriend has another girlfriend. But the gag is, she thought I was the side chick. We both confronted him together, and he said, honestly, I love y'all equally. I just don't know how to choose. Now, she wants to keep seeing him until we figure this out. Am I petty if I bow out and let them have each other? So we got a couple of watchers on here. I'm going to let you guys hop in the comments. I'm going to give you a little bit of time. And so the question is, or the email says, I accidentally found out my boyfriend has another girlfriend, but the gag is she thought I was the side chick. I accidentally found out my boyfriend has another girlfriend, but the gag is she thought I was the side chick. We both confronted him together, and he said, honestly, I love y'all equally. I just don't know how to choose. Now, she wants to keep seeing him until we figure this out. Am I petty if I bow out and let him have each other? Shanae said, uh-oh. The gap. Okay, so while you guys are commenting, I'm gonna remind you to definitely make sure that you check out Miss V's Butters Divine Naturals by V.com. And then also make sure that you check out our network on YouTube, on Instagram, on all of our platforms. Make sure that you tune in. Absolutely, absolutely. The comments are coming in. The comments are coming in. Miss T said, okay, wait. So Vic said petty would not be the term. Choosing you is not petty. Miss Von T says, no, let them have each other. Don't pick me. Tilly says, why is this even a question? Ninja bye. What's going on here? Miss T, Mama T says, bow the fuck out. Too much confusion. Miss Teresa says, petty. No, she's choosing for him. And let her have him. This is a vacant position now, and he's going to add another woman to that spot. All of the above. How do you accidentally find out that your boyfriend has another girlfriend? Like, how do you accidentally find out that your boyfriend has another girlfriend? And then it's not a gag, sis, because clearly y'all were both side chicks or y'all were both main chicks, but y'all didn't know about each other. So there's not a gag. He was definitely playing both of y'all. And I feel like you want to keep seeing him too, because you're asking this question. Like, you're asking the question like you want to keep seeing him too. So the way that you're wording this is almost making it seem like she's the problem, but she's really not the problem, sis. You're wording this like she's the problem. She's not the problem. She's not the problem at all. She's not the problem. Vic said, understand your boundaries and comfort. If you don't want to deal with the mess, then don't. Exactly. Now, she wants to keep seeing him until we figure this out. You do too. So you got to pick what you want. Like, it's not petty if you choose to walk away. If you don't want to be in a poly situation, or if you don't want to be with a nigga that you know has another girlfriend, because he's made it very clear that he loves both of y'all. And if he doesn't have to choose, he's not going to. So if you're happy with how things are playing out and you're satisfied in your relationship and he's satisfied in whatever, and that's what you choose to accept, then accept it and keep riding it out, because clearly it was cool. But there had to have been something that happened for you to accidentally find out, because we don't accidentally find out anything. Women's intuitions are so strong, nothing is by accident. So you knew that there was something. You knew it wasn't an accident that you found out about the other girl. And the fact that y'all confronted him together, she's not the side either. And if you do, like Vic said, if you do want to deal with him, then do so. There's nothing wrong with knowing what you want. And again, we have this conversation all the time. As long as it works for you and you're clear and you have an understanding of the boundaries of what it is, then write it out. But she's not going nowhere. She's made that very clear. She wants to keep seeing him until we figure this out. So she's not leaving. So you can decide if that's what you want to keep doing. And then if not, it's not a bow. Because right now the ball is in your court. You have the choice. You get to choose how you want to play this situation. For me, I'm like, okay, well, if you can have another girl, can I have another nigga? Or how does this work? Like, what does this look like? Are we doing it together? Like, what are the dynamics? And again, it's about those healthy, honest conversations. And I agree, Shanae, it sounds like she doesn't want to know. She knows, because we always know, right? She knows what it is, and they confronted him together. So she definitely knows what it is. And like Miss Teresa says, they're not married, so he's single until he says otherwise. And in this case, like I said, he's made it very clear. When when y'all confronted him, there wasn't no sidestepping, there wasn't no denial, there wasn't no. I love y'all and I don't know how to choose. So I'm dating both of y'all. So y'all can make the choice for me, or we could keep rocking it out how it is. But you clearly want to see him too. And I say, like, if you have an understanding in dating, then let that be what it is. Because like Shanae says, you're dating. Y'all aren't together. Or maybe you were. And so that's another dynamic too. Because if you feel like that was your man and he has another girlfriend and you didn't know about it, he was cheating on you. And so that's that dynamic. Especially if it wasn't a conversation where you guys both knew what it was. Then that means that he's cheating. And we don't necessarily want to be with the cheater. Or if you do, at least you have the understanding of what it is and you know what you're getting yourself into. But it's not petty if you decide to walk away. It's not even petty if you decide to stay. It's whatever you choose to be happy with and you choose to allow. But the thing is that you definitely can't get to the point where you think she's a side chick, because she's not. So y'all are definitely equally in the same space in his eyes, because he says that I love y'all equally. I just don't know how to choose. So you're not the only one. You're not the only one. So Miss Teresa says that they're not married, so he's up for it. I say whatever you feel like is going to be good for you. Miss Mama T says bow out, too much confusion. And I kind of feel that way too, because if you couldn't be upfront with me from the beginning, and I'm all about choice, right? Like I can handle any honest conversation, but you just have to be honest with me from the beginning. And so for me, the fact that he wasn't honest with y'all and that you had to accidentally find out and she thought you were the side chick too, so both of y'all intuitively knew about each other, and he wasn't honest, that would be my reason for tapping out, because he wasn't honest in his pursuit and he wasn't honest about what he was saying. So that's why I would tap out. But aside from that, you have a choice, but it's not petty. Whatever you choose is your choice, and just make sure that you stand on that, whatever your choice may be. So those were our 2 questions for the week. Make sure that if you have scenarios or things that you want to discuss, that you send them over to us at dearjassy@gmail.com. That's Dear Jassy, Jassy, Dear Jassy, Jassy @gmail.com. And you can be anonymous, and we'll go over your emails. We'll shoot the shits. We'll have comments and conversations. And you tap in and you decide if you want to follow what we say or not. And then also, what else was I going to share? Oh, Breathe on Sunday. Like I said, we're going to celebrate my birthday. Shout out to everyone who actually RSVP for the Now I Know Intimate Dinner Experience. Please check your email, because I did reschedule the dinner to February 7th. And my reasoning is because I actually don't really want to do much for my birthday. I thought I wanted to host, and but then I realized, like, that's actually work, and hosting and presenting. And even though it's a dope experience, I really don't want to be in that space for my birthday. I don't want to host. I don't want to dress up. And so I postponed it to a different day, and I sent the new information in your email. So definitely check on that. But if you are in Denver and you want to celebrate, you can come out to Breathe on Sunday at Tetra. We'll be doing cake and ice cream at like 6:30. So you can definitely come hang out with us there. You can also get a copy of Now I Know on Amazon or on my website, JasmineElizabethInc.com. So make sure you tune in there, and then share. We will be here every Friday. Every Friday we'll be here. So tap in, share, tell your friends about our conversations, because it'd be fun and full of jokes. And the more people, the merrier. All ages, backgrounds. And let's try to get some more men in the conversations too, because I like to hear their perspectives. And no problem, Shanae. I'm gonna continue to do research on different things that we talk about to kind of keep the conversations going, because I feel like, especially in dating, a lot of times, um, we just don't understand each other. And I think communication is important. And I think a lot of it is due to a lack of knowledge or understanding. So, any way that I can bring in some facts and tidbits of information so that we can further understand each other, like, I'm so for it, so for it, so for it, because we got to get this together. We got to get on one accord because we got to heal and all that good stuff. So, I think that's all I have for this week. Make sure you tune in, tap in. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, like I said, send them to dearjazzy at gmail.com. If you are attending the book signing experience, I will catch you on February 7th. You can definitely come and get some of that whipped butter from Ms. V on Sunday at Breathe. Tell your friends, come out, play spades, unos, and dominoes. And if you have a business or a product or service that you want to showcase or promote on the screen on Friday, you can send information for that as well to dearjazzy at gmail.com, and we can discuss what that looks like for you. All right. I love y'all. Happy birthday to me, and I will talk to you guys next week. I'm done.